This morning, I would like to shift gears a moment, if my listeners will patiently indulge me, to talk about another subject. You know, we worship a holy God, sinless, righteous, to beyond our comprehension, heavenly, holy. Is there anyone but Him in the universe that's holy? The answer is obviously no. Our Bible says that man's righteousness is as filthy rags. It also says all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. What is the glory of God? His holiness. Now, at the end of creation, the all-holy, the solely holy God declared the last day of the creation week holy. He hallowed it. By what power did God have to call that day holy? Well, because only He is holy. That's the power He had to call that last and final day of the creation week holy. Now, if Adam would have presumed, seeing that God had accomplished His work and was resting, what if Adam would have stood up and say, I declare this day to be holy? What would he have been doing? Would he not have been treading upon the throne of God Himself? Would he not have been blaspheming God in presumption that Adam too was holy and had the power to declare a certain day holy and then expect God to observe the holiness of that day because Adam said it was holy? Well, it's absurd, isn't it? We know in the Bible that God made certain days holy. He called them holy convocations. No one else ever in the Bible declared any certain day holy. Why? Because all men have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. And only God can call a thing holy, because only He is holy. A sinful, wicked man cannot declare anything holy, because he is not holy. Now, God declared certain days holy. First the Sabbath, and then the feasts of Israel. They were holy convocations. God not only declared them holy because He was holy and was able to do so, but He told man what he should do on that day and what he should not do on that day, as a means of commemorating the holiness of that day and the holiness of the God who created that day. And as long as man obeyed God's law, he reaped the benefits of those holy days, spiritually and temporally. So there's one thing we can conclude about all these obviously righteous statements. That if there is a day that is declared by the world to be holy, then we may rightfully presume that it is God who made it holy. And if God sanctified it and hallowed it and called it holy, certainly anyone can take their Bible and open it to a certain page and read the account from God's holy word to man when it was that God declared a certain day holy and how man should keep it holy. Is that not true? God made the account of all of those holy days perfectly identifiable in His Scripture. In His book, His holy book, His word to mankind. Now, today, there are many days that are reserved as holy. They're called holidays, which is just a contraction of the word holy days. They're called holidays today. And men insist that they are holy. And that if you violate those days and do certain things that you're not supposed to do, and don't do certain things that you are supposed to do, then you are somehow backslidden or somehow treading upon the sovereignty and the holiness of God. But you can take any number of those days and search the Bible until your eyeballs fall out, and you'll never find one mention of those days, neither that God made them, nor that God made them holy. And so you have to assume that God didn't make them holy. He didn't record their sanctity, the sanctification of those days in the Bible, in His holy word to man. Now, if there is a day in this world called holy, and there's no account in the Bible of God sanctifying it, then we can only conclude one thing, that somehow man has attempted to do the absurd. Sinful, wicked, fallen man has attempted to do that which is absurd, and to declare a day on his own as holy, and expecting God to observe it. It's absurd, isn't it? Not only that, it's worse than that, far worse than that. When a sinful, wicked man, or a world of men, declare something holy that God did not declare holy, for only He is holy, then man has tread upon the very sovereignty of God, the very holiness of God Himself, and declared Himself to be holy. Because after all, to declare anything holy, you must be holy, right? It's blasphemy for man, sinful, wicked, fallen man, to declare anything holy. He does not have it in his power to call anything holy. It is not in the power of man to declare any day holy. It is not within the prerogative of man to declare any holidays. Only God can do that, for only God is holy. Now, I've just made perfect sense to you. There's not one legitimate argument, and if there is, I encourage you to write me and tell me where I have erred. Please write me and tell me where I have erred. My email address is tom@seawaves.us. tom@seawaves.us. I encourage biblical scholars, historians, anybody of any rank in society that hears my voice and tell me where I have erred in my reasoning. Now, tomorrow is called by the world a holiday. There's not record one anywhere in the Scriptures of that day. God did not make that day holy. He did not sanctify it. And it's not holy. Because man has not within himself the holiness to declare anything holy. Tomorrow is just another day here at Inquisition Update. More than that, it is a day to be mourned. A day when the whole world demonstrates its rebellion and blasphemy against the only one in the whole universe that's holy, by observing a day they call holy, which is not holy. It's a day to be mourned. To see the whole world in unison blaspheme the all-holy God by presuming to proclaim something holy which is not even in his prerogative. Adam was given the authority by God to name all the animals. And he did. But he was not given the power or the holiness to declare any day holy. If it's not in the Bible, it's not holy. If it's not specifically declared by God to be holy, if there's no mention made of what day that is and how God made it hallowed and instructed man what to do and what not to do on that day, then it's not holy. If a man made a day holy, it's not holy. If a whole world of men made a day holy, it's not holy. And to say that it is treads upon the holiness of the only one who is holy. To call a day holy that God did not call holy is to make yourself God. That's blasphemy. I think I've said enough.